I've spoken about Hanging Rock before, but just near the rock there's a very strange area on a road called Straws Lane. Me, my friend Paul, and his friends would go up there every time we visited the area. There was always something odd that happened. This road, or area of road, is called Gravity Hill, due to the fact that cars appear to roll up it. It is not uncommon for people to get to the top of the hill, put their car into neutral, and then allow the car to come to a complete stop and have it roll backwards up the hill. I have done this many times, and try as I might, I cannot see how this was an illusion. Some claim that it was, but even if it was so, it did not explain some of the other things I would experience there. I dearly wish I had a digital camera back in the 80s and 90s, because there were some amazing things I would have loved to have captured back then. The beginning of this hill was marked by a white post, and that's where people would turn off the engine or put the car into neutral. So here are a few of the odd incidences that happened to me. For instance, the first time I went there, it was close to the autumn equinox, and there was a definite static in the air. Paul took me there, and we walked around that area, and we both felt it. It was very strong. In fact, strong enough for Paul to get a shock through his arm, and for me, it was like running your hand over the front of an old-fashioned TV screen. I have never felt anything like it before or since. Once I brought some magnets along, and they seemed to be attracted to the ground. The weather there could often be strange. Very strong winds that would spring up, but if you moved just past the post, they would disappear completely. This happened on a number of occasions. One time, my cousin was visiting me from interstate, so I took him up to see the rock, and we drove to Straws Lane. There were strong winds that night, but I drove him just a few meters past the post, and they completely vanished. He swore repeatedly, not being able to believe what he had just experienced. Another really odd thing that happened at times was that the clouds would have a perfect circle in them just above the road. This is a picture of what it looked like, but the actual circle was very round. On the night we visited Hanging Rock and the roads had changed around us, we had gone to Straws Lane first. That night the weather was mild, the moon was waning, but it still shone plenty of light, and it wasn't windy. But all this changed as we approached the very top of the hill. Suddenly, a bitterly cold gale-force wind rocked the car, making whistling noises. The sky became pitch black all around the area, except when you looked directly up, it was clear, and a fine rain fell upon my windscreen. It was unsettling. I am not sure if visiting there first had anything to do with what happened after, but I guess anything is possible. As mentioned, it is claimed to be an optical illusion, and while I can accept that, it does not explain away the other events I experienced. I stopped going to Straws Lane after 1992. The car I had back then was working just fine, but when I entered into the area, it started to shudder as though something was wrong with the engine, which as it turned out, there was. So when I got a new car later that year, I became paranoid. I was reluctant to head back there, just in case the same thing happened. But for the sake of this video, I went there again in 2017 to get some pictures and footage. And while it's really hard to capture what it's like, I hope it gave you an idea. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, here are some others you might find interesting. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear about them. Leave a comment and maybe even a like.